My ex's revenge made me his perfect girlfriend. The camera pans over a modest apartment in the city. The cluttered desk is covered with books, empty coffee cups, and a single, half-finished sketchbook filled with designs for dresses, makeup ideas, and pictures of fashion models. Jason, our main character, is sitting at the desk, eyes focused intently on the page. His hand moves quickly, sketching yet another outline for a new design. He's a 27-year-old graphic designer by profession, but his true passion is fashion. Specifically, he has always been fascinated by the world of crossdressing, but he keeps it hidden. This isn't a hobby he can share easily with others, especially not with his current girlfriend, Emma. Jason's mind is consumed by his past, a past that involves betrayal, humiliation, and revenge. His ex-boyfriend, Drew, had a way of making Jason feel small. Drew always knew how to manipulate Jason's weaknesses. When their relationship ended, it wasn't just the end of their romance, it was the beginning of a twisted game that Jason didn't expect to become part of. Jason has always been a quiet, introverted person, but he has a side to him that is fiercely creative. He has a private closet filled with clothes he never wears outside of his own room, dresses, skirts, heels, makeup, all items he's accumulated in secret, items that allow him to explore the side of himself he can't express to the world. He's recently started dating Emma, a bubbly and supportive woman who has no idea about Jason's hidden world. She believes their relationship is normal, and she loves him for the person she sees him to be. But Jason can't stop the internal conflict between his true identity and the life he's built with Emma. He's afraid that if Emma ever found out, she wouldn't accept him. His past relationship with Drew has left him scarred, afraid to trust anyone again. Emma is sweet and compassionate, a stark contrast to Jason's ex. They've been dating for almost a year, and in that time, Jason's done everything in his power to keep his secret from her. She's always told him that she loves him just as he is. But Jason has always been haunted by the fear that his secret will be too much for her to handle. The first time they kissed, Jason's heart raced. He had never been in a relationship so genuine, so free of emotional manipulation. Emma was everything Jason had been missing in his life, and he often wondered if she would love him less if she knew about the darker side of him, the side that enjoyed wearing clothes meant for women, the side he couldn't shake despite how hard he tried. Jason's thoughts drift to Drew, his ex, and the terrible revenge Drew exacted on him after their breakup. Drew was always a charismatic man, and Jason had fallen hard for him. But their relationship was toxic, with Drew using Jason's vulnerabilities against him. The breaking point came when Drew, angry over a small argument, pushed Jason into a humiliating situation in front of his friends. Drew's cruelty didn't stop there. After the breakup, Drew sought revenge in the cruelest way possible by exposing Jason's secret to the world. He showed pictures of Jason wearing dresses at a private party they had attended, sending them to Jason's work colleagues, and publicly humiliating him. It was an act of spite, but it also planted a seed of fear inside Jason. He became hyper-aware of how fragile his world was. He could never let anyone, especially Emma, find out about his cross-dressing tendencies. He was terrified of losing her. But more than that, he was afraid of being judged and ridiculed again. Drew had hurt him, and that pain lingered. Back in the present, Jason's phone buzzes on the desk. It's a text from Emma, asking if they're still on for dinner tonight. Emma, text message. Hey babe, dinner at 7? We're having that new Italian place, right? Jason smiles at the text, but feels the weight of the secret pressing on his chest. He has to keep up the facade. He can't let Emma find out. But as he types back a reply, a new text pops up on his phone. This one is from Drew. Drew, text message. I know what you're up to, Jason. And you might want to be careful. I've got my eyes on you. Jason's heart drops. He stares at the text for a moment, his thoughts racing. He hasn't heard from Drew in months, and the last thing he expected was for Drew to reach out now. The message seems cryptic but ominous. What does Drew know? Has he been watching him? Jason's grip tightens on the phone, the fear creeping up his spine. Drew's revenge isn't over. It's just begun. The camera cuts back to Jason's reflection in the mirror, and a deep sense of unease fills the room. As he gets up from his desk, he notices the dress he had left out for an upcoming event, a dress he planned to wear in secret. It's a beautiful, elegant piece, an item that represents both his freedom and his shame. He wonders if he'll ever truly be free of his past. Will Drew use his secret against him again? Will Emma find out? And most importantly, will Jason ever be able to live his life without fear? The build-up begins by delving deep into Jason's emotional turmoil, his constant internal struggle with his secret life, and the ever-present fear of being exposed. Despite his growing love for Emma, Jason is torn between the life he presents to her and his hidden desires. The constant anxiety over his cross-dressing urges pulls him in different directions, making it difficult for him to relax or fully engage in their relationship. Jason stands in front of his full-length mirror, staring at the reflection of a man who feels like a stranger. He adjusts his shirt nervously, attempting to mask the nerves. He's dressed for dinner with Emma, but inside he's drowning in shame. The thought of hiding his true self from her weighs on him. He closes his eyes for a moment, remembering the joy he used to feel when he could dress up without fear. Back then, it was about self-expression. But now, it's a battle for survival. The dark memories of Drew exposing him to his friends and colleagues creep into his mind like shadows, making him second-guess every decision he makes. Jason's internal monologue reveals how deeply his shame runs. He's always been attracted to the freedom of wearing women's clothes, something he has kept hidden from everyone, including Emma. But that secret is like a ticking time bomb. He's convinced that once Emma finds out, she'll see him as weak, pathetic, or worse, a liar. He worries that his cross-dressing will forever alter how she sees him. Later that evening, Jason sits on the couch, scrolling through fashion websites, his thoughts wandering to the dress he had picked out earlier in the week. He wonders what it would be like to wear it again, to feel the thrill of slipping into something so liberating. But then the thought of Drew's revenge stirs in his mind, reminding him of the destructive consequences of being exposed. Still, there's a temptation he can't ignore. The idea of transforming into someone else, someone free of judgment, is intoxicating. He imagines the soft fabric of the dress against his skin, the feel of high heels clicking on the floor, the way makeup would smooth over his features, shaping his face into something beautiful. But the fear quickly dampens that temptation. Jason spends a restless night, his mind a battlefield between the desire to embrace his secret self and the fear of losing everything he's worked hard to build with Emma. As the days pass, Emma begins to notice Jason's odd behavior. His moods swing between moments of affection and sudden distances. She can't quite put her finger on it, but something feels off. Jason seems distracted, lost in thought even when they're having dinner together. He's always been kind, but his recent detachment is troubling her. One evening, as they're sitting at a cafe, Emma notices the way Jason nervously adjusts his shirt when a woman walks past wearing an elegant dress. It's subtle, but the change in his posture isn't lost on her. She brushes it off at first. Jason is always sensitive about how he looks, but it makes her wonder. Her thoughts begin to race. She's aware that Jason has a secret, one that he's never shared with her. But what is it? Does it have something to do with the sudden fits of silence, or the way his fingers tremble when he touches her hand? Emma's suspicion builds over the next few days. She doesn't confront him directly yet, but there's a quiet unease in the air whenever they're together. Jason begins to feel the weight of her gaze, as if she's piecing together the puzzle he's spent so long hiding. One day, when Emma has to leave town for a few days, Jason takes the opportunity to indulge in his secret passion. With trembling hands, he pulls out the dress he's been saving for months, a stunning red number that makes him feel like a different person. The thrill of wearing it again overwhelms him, but so does the shame. He locks the door, ensuring that no one can walk in unexpectedly, and begins to prepare. He starts with the makeup, applying foundation to smooth his skin, followed by eyeliner and eyeshadow to accentuate his eyes. He works meticulously, savoring each step. As the makeup transforms his face, he feels a mix of excitement and vulnerability. For a brief moment, he feels like he's not Jason anymore, but someone else entirely. Slipping into the dress, he marvels at how it fits perfectly, hugging his curves and making him feel confident in a way he hasn't in ages. The heels are the final touch, and as he stands in front of the mirror, he can't help but smile. For a brief moment, he's free from the expectations of society, free from the weight of his secret. But then, just as quickly as the moment of freedom arrives, the fear returns. What if Emma finds out? What if Drew is still lurking in the background, ready to expose him again. He hastily removes the dress, wiping away his makeup with a sense of regret. As Jason changes back into his normal clothes, he hears the familiar ping of his phone. His heart sinks when he sees the message. It's from Drew again. Drew, text message. You're getting careless, Jason. I've got my eyes on you, and I won't let you forget what you did. Jason feels a chill run down his spine. Drew's words hit him like a hammer. He thought he had left that chapter behind, but now it seems like Drew is still pulling the strings from the shadows. Jason wonders how Drew knows so much. Has he been spying on him? Is it possible that Drew has found out about his crossdressing again? The uncertainty gnaws at him. The feeling of being watched, of having no control over his life, is overwhelming. He can't afford to let anyone find out about his secret, especially not Emma. But Drew's relentless pursuit of revenge has just taken things to another level. Jason looks at the message one more time, his mind racing. He can't let Drew ruin his life again. But as the thoughts swirl in his mind, a sense of dread settles over him. If Drew is still after him, then the danger is far from over. Emma's suspicion is growing, and the truth is inching closer to the surface. As the suspense heightens, Jason finds himself at a crossroads. Will he continue hiding his secret, or will the stakes be raised so high that he can no longer protect himself? What will happen when Emma finally discovers the truth about him? As the suspense reaches its peak, the character, Jason, finds himself unable to suppress his desires. While Emma is out of town, Jason indulges in his secret life again. This time, however, he pushes his boundaries. He decides to leave the house dressed as his alter ego, taking a step that feels both thrilling and dangerous. Jason stands before the mirror, his reflection gazing back at him, clad in a black silk dress. The transformation is complete. His makeup is flawless, and he feels more confident than ever before. For a moment, he relishes in the freedom, the rush of excitement coursing through his veins. His heart races as he prepares to step outside, knowing the risk that comes with it. But just as he opens the door, his phone buzzes. It's a message from Emma, saying she'll be home earlier than expected. Panic sets in. He has just enough time to make it back inside and change before she walks through the door. His pulse quickens as he hurries to remove the dress, but his hands tremble, slowing him down. Every second feels like an eternity. His heartbeat pounds in his ears as he frantically undresses, his mind racing. He can't afford to be caught. Not now. Not when Emma's suspicion has already started to creep in. But as he hears the sound of her car pulling into the driveway, it becomes clear he's running out of time. In the midst of Jason's frantic transformation back to his regular self, an unexpected visitor knocks at the door. It's Drew. Jason is frozen in panic. He never imagined that Drew would show up unannounced, especially at a time like this. Drew's presence adds a new layer of tension, complicating an already precarious situation. Jason looks through the peephole, his breath catching in his throat as he sees Drew standing outside. The last person he wants to deal with right now. He doesn't know how Drew knew where he lived, or why he's here. But the last thing Jason wants is for Drew to see him dressed up again. The knock on the door grows louder, more urgent. Jason's mind races. He considers pretending not to be home, but the sound of Emma's car pulling into the driveway forces him to make a decision. He opens the door slowly, heart pounding in his chest. Drew smirks as he steps inside uninvited, as if he knows exactly how much control he has over Jason's life. As Drew enters, he makes a pointed remark about the odd behavior he's noticed from Jason over the past few days. His cryptic words suggest he knows something Jason isn't ready to admit. Drew begins to push buttons, taunting him with the power he holds over him. Jason is left scrambling to cover up his secret, but Drew senses the vulnerability. Drew's eyes narrow as he takes in the tension in Jason's body. You really thought you could get away from this, huh? You thought you could live your perfect life with Emma without facing the consequences. Drew sneers. Jason stammers, his mind racing for a way out. I don't know what you're talking about. Just leave, Drew. This isn't the time. But Drew isn't done yet. He steps closer, his presence suffocating. I know your little secret, Jason. I've known all along. You thought you could hide it from me, but I'm always one step ahead. And don't worry, I'll make sure Emma knows all about it. Jason's stomach sinks. The last thing he wants is for Drew to ruin everything. His transformation is his most vulnerable secret, one he has tried to keep hidden from everyone, including Emma. But now it feels like Drew is on the verge of exposing him completely. As Drew continues to taunt Jason, the front door opens. Emma steps inside, and her eyes immediately lock onto the scene. She freezes, taking in the tension, the stranger standing in her home, and Jason's flustered appearance. The pieces of the puzzle begin to fall into place, and she senses something is very wrong. Emma's eyes flicker from Jason to Drew, the confusion evident in her expression. "What's going on here?" she asks, her voice trembling slightly. Jason's heart races, and he opens his mouth to explain, but no words come out. The weight of the situation presses down on him, suffocating him. Drew grins, enjoying the discomfort. "Oh, don't mind me. I'm just here to help Jason with something." "I think you're about to learn the truth, Emma." Emma's gaze shifts back to Jason, her brow furrowing. "What truth, Jason? What's he talking about?" The pressure becomes too much for Jason to handle. Unable to keep the secret any longer, he breaks down emotionally in front of both Drew and Emma. He confesses everything: the crossdressing, the fear, the shame, and his love for Emma. This moment of vulnerability is raw and intense, revealing Jason's true feelings and the burden he has carried. Jason's voice shakes as he finally speaks. "I'm sorry, Emma. I've been hiding this from you. I never meant for you to find out like this. I crossdress. I've been doing it for a long time, and I didn't want you to see me like this. I was afraid of how you would look at me." Emma's face softens, her initial shock giving way to a mixture of confusion and concern. "Why didn't you tell me, Jason? Why didn't you trust me?" Jason wipes his eyes, ashamed. "I was scared. Scared of what you would think. Scared of losing you. I never meant to hurt you." Emma's reaction to Jason's confession is a whirlwind of emotions. She is shocked, confused, and hurt, but there's a level of understanding beneath the surface. As Drew watches from the sidelines, Emma struggles to reconcile her love for Jason with the truth he's just shared. She needs time to process everything, but one thing is clear: their relationship has been forever changed. Emma takes a deep breath, her hands trembling. "I don't know what to say, Jason. This is a lot to take in. But I love you, and I think I need some time to figure this out. I never expected this from you." Jason's heart breaks. He's not sure what he expected, but it wasn't this. He thought Emma would understand, but her words sting. Drew, sensing the vulnerability, takes one last shot. "Don't worry, Emma," Drew says, his voice dripping with malice. "You'll come to terms with it. Jason here can't hide forever. People like him, people who pretend to be someone they're not, always get what's coming to them." Just as Jason thinks the worst has passed, Drew delivers the final blow. He threatens to expose everything to the world, regardless of Emma's decision. He's ready to watch Jason's life crumble under the weight of his revenge. Jason, however, makes a choice. He won't let Drew control his life anymore. Drew steps toward the door, his smirk widening. "I'll be in touch, Jason. Don't think you can escape this. Your secret is mine now." But Jason stands tall, a newfound resolve in his voice. "You can't control me anymore, Drew. I'm done running." As Drew leaves, Emma watches the confrontation with a sense of unease. She doesn't know where things will go from here, but she can't deny that the love they once shared now feels tainted by the truth. Jason's future is uncertain, and so is theirs. The next chapter in their relationship has just begun. After Drew's threat, Jason stands in the midst of the wreckage of his life, his secret no longer hidden. The silence is deafening as Emma processes everything that's happened. Jason's heart races as he watches her, unsure of what will come next. In a final attempt to regain control, Jason makes one last plea to Emma, but the unresolved tension hangs heavy in the room. What happens next is uncertain, leaving viewers with a gripping cliffhanger that promises the continuation of the story. Jason stands motionless as the door closes behind Drew, his final words still echoing in the air. The tension between him and Emma is unbearable, like the stillness before a storm. He opens his mouth, but no words come out. How do you explain yourself when everything you've kept hidden comes to light? Emma stands in front of him, her face pale, her eyes filled with confusion, hurt, and a deep-seated uncertainty. "I don't know what to think right now, Jason," she whispers, her voice trembling. "I need some space to figure things out. I don't know if I can handle all of this." Jason feels like the floor has been pulled out from beneath him. The woman he loves, who once embraced him without question, is now unsure about their future. His world, once filled with certainty, is now crumbling before his eyes. Please, Emma, I never wanted to hurt you. I love you, Jason says, stepping toward her, but she takes a step back, her face hardening. Love me, she repeats, her voice cracking. How could you love me and keep something like this from me? How long have you been hiding it, Jason? And why didn't you trust me enough to tell me the truth? Her questions cut through him like a blade, and he is left speechless. He never intended for this to happen. He never imagined that his secret would destroy the one thing he cherished most. Emma, unable to face Jason in the aftermath of the revelation, decides to leave the house for a while. She needs time to think and process everything she's just learned. Jason, heartbroken, watches as she walks out the door, unsure of what the future holds. Emma doesn't say another word. She grabs her coat, her movements stiff and deliberate. I need time, Jason. Please, just give me time. Before Jason can protest, she's gone, leaving him standing in the empty hallway. The silence that follows is suffocating. The house feels colder, darker, as if the warmth of their relationship has been sucked out of it entirely. Jason stumbles back to the living room, his knees hitting the couch. He collapses onto it, his hands shaking as he tries to make sense of what just happened. The image of Emma's face, filled with hurt and confusion, haunts him. She was the one person he wanted to protect from his secret, the one person who had made him feel normal. And now it's all slipping away. He runs a hand through his hair, his mind spinning. Is there any way back from this? Has he lost Emma for good? Later, Jason receives a phone call from Drew. The threat he made earlier looms over him, and now, Drew calls to make sure Jason knows he hasn't forgotten his promise. Drew has set things in motion, things that could destroy Jason's life and expose him in ways he never imagined. Jason must make a choice, stand up to Drew, or continue to let him control his life. Jason's phone rings, the name Drew flashing on the screen. He hesitates for a moment, his heart pounding in his chest. He knows what's coming. Another one of Drew's cruel games. With trembling hands, he answers the call. What do you want, Drew? Jason's voice is low, strained with emotion. Drew's voice oozes with satisfaction. Oh, nothing much. Just wanted to remind you that I'm still in control. You think you can just hide away and forget about what's coming? I told you, I won't let you get away with this. And now, I'm going to make sure Emma knows the whole truth. How long do you think you can keep pretending? Jason feels the panic rise in his chest. Don't you dare, Drew. If you tell her, You'll what, Jason? Drew interrupts with a mocking laugh. I've already got everything I need. It's just a matter of time. Don't bother trying to stop me. You're not in control anymore. The line goes dead, and Jason is left holding the phone, his breath shallow, his mind racing. Drew has won again. His threat feels all too real now, and the weight of the situation settles heavily on his shoulders. He has to make a decision, but he doesn't know if he has the strength to do what's necessary. The story ends with Jason standing at a crossroads. He has to decide whether to fight back against Drew's manipulation or continue to hide in the shadows. His future with Emma is uncertain, and the weight of his secrets feels heavier than ever before. As the screen fades to black, viewers are left hanging on the edge of their seats, eager to know what will happen next. Jason stands at the window, staring out into the dark night. The world outside is quiet, but inside, his heart is a storm of confusion and fear. Drew's words echo in his mind. His secret is out now, and there's no going back. He can't hide forever. Emma's face lingers in his thoughts. He knows he can't lose her, but he doesn't know how to make things right. His entire life has been built around secrets, but now he's facing the consequences. What is he willing to risk to get her back? As he stares out the window, Jason realizes that the road ahead won't be easy. He will have to confront his past, face his fears, and fight for the future he wants. But one thing is certain, nothing will be the same again.